What do you? We're Pi Fridays.
Too early for that.
Good evening. What do you call a dog with no legs?
What?
It doesn't matter. He's not gonna come.
Is that what you were trying to say? Like, come in.
That didn't go over as slow as I thought.
got a little crazy. So, where are you going?
You guys are so good to us.
What do you got?
The fucking sucks!
What?
Good man, Panda, please get off stage. Your turn is over.
We're all Pirate Fridays here. Just one big family. Most of all, I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the man who's also doing the sound, kind of, at the show, is our drummer as well. Ben Dog, give it up.
Smoke the herb!
Yeah. All the way. So, I'm having loads of fun. You guys having fun? Yeah. Pounds all around. Jenny wants to tell a joke. Should I tell? All right, this one's from Jenny. What do you call an empty jar of Cheese Whiz? Cheese Whiz.
Yeah, this needs to tune. This is a slow song. I don't know if you guys want to wave or bob for this one.
We'll do it all!
That's coming up, Robbie. Robbie's coming. Get your lighters out for this one. Fire hazard. Oh yeah.
He had a deadly left hook. I'm sorry.
What's a mouse's? Oh, fuck. What's a cat's favorite breakfast? Mice Krispies.
If you know the verse, you can sing along.
This is our second last song, the penultimate song. Everyone prepare yourself.
Yeah, we're on Facebook, we're on MySpace. Check out our MySpace, we're gonna have new songs out. MySpace! MySpace! Oh, MySpace!
Man Panda sucks. I love you, Man Panda.
They fucking hate you. Oh! Oh!
A damn limit! A damn limit!
Robbie Sheriff, what's up?
Play that song again!
Just cut my arm on the guitar because you're so hardcore, you. And then